So let's go ahead and have a seat. Find that comfortable, steady seat. So we kind of talked about that on Monday, steadiness and ease. So that's how all of our postures, including this one, should feel. So find your straight aligned spine. Let your shoulders relax, let your jaw relax. If you're comfortable with your eyes closed, close your eyes, and then take a deep breath in through your nose. Big exhale through your mouth. And just take a few breaths to kind of settle into your skin. Notice what you're feeling and where you're feeling it. And then begin your Ujjayi breathing, that deeper, slower, aspirated breath. And then check in with thoughts, emotions, energy. And bring your palms together in front of your heart. And just take a moment to set your personal intention for practice. When you're clear on your intention, take a deep breath in. A big exhale through the mouth. We're going to transition over to hands and knees. We're going to start a little gentler and kind of progress through the practice. So on hands and knees, do a couple of cat-cow stretches, inhaling to arch and exhaling to round. Loosening up the spine a little bit. And then just pause in neutral. Take both feet to the right, look over your right shoulder and poke your left rib cage out so that you can feel a stretch on the left side of the spine. And then take both of your feet over to the left, look over your left shoulder, poke that right rib cage out to the right, breathe. Come back to the center, turn your toes under, and go into your first downward facing dog, doing any movements that you feel like you need to. And then finding stillness. Walk your feet forward. Hang in ragdoll, so you want to keep those knees bent, relax your neck completely. And then on your next inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead, stretch up. And as you exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold all the way forward, fingertips down if you can, and then inhale, look up and lengthen, and exhale back down. This morning, we're going to step back with our right foot first. So you've got a left foot forward lunge. Just hold your lunge for a moment. If it feels okay, keep that right hand planted and take your left hand up towards the ceiling. Drop your right knee down, put your left hand on the inside of your left knee, roll to the outside edge of that left foot, and gently press on the inside of your left knee or thigh. You want to feel some sensation, outer hip, inner thigh, maybe a little bit of both. Go ahead and extend your left leg. Get into that left hamstring a little bit. And then we'll bend the left knee. Bring the arms up and overhead. Pelvis is going to tilt, the hips are moving forward. Bring just your left hand down to your left thigh. This right arm is going to reach back a little bit, maybe a little to the left, just opening up the torso again. So you should feel the whole right side of your torso stretch. And then bring both hands to the mat. Step back to plank. First vinyasa, we're going to modify knees, chest, and chin. Untuck the toes. You can either come into a low cobra or slide the forearms forward for Sphinx. And then downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward. Hold your lunge for a breath or two. And if it feels okay, keep that left hand planted and take your right hand to the ceiling. We're going to drop the left knee down, put the right hand on the inside of the right knee, roll onto the outside edge of that foot, and begin to press a little bit on the inside of the near thigh. Now we're looking for sensation, right inner thigh, right outer hip. And then go ahead and extend that right leg to wake up your right hamstring. And then we'll bend the right knee. Arms are up and overhead. Pelvis is tilting back and the hips are moving forward. From here, bring just your right hand onto your right thigh. The left arm that's up in the air, we're going to reach it back a little more and maybe a little to the right. It's really stretching, opening left side of the torso. Hands come down and step forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. This time stepping back with your left foot. If you can, hold a high lunge. Feel free to drop the left knee though if you need to. Arms are up and overhead. Hips are sinking. And just like we did when the knee was down, right hand on the right thigh, reach your left arm back a little and maybe a little bit to the right. Then I want you to bring just the left hand down to the mat. Both feet are going to turn a full 90 degrees to the right. And you're going to allow that left hip to sink a little bit, but your left leg should be straight. So what we're looking for is sensation in the right outer hip or thigh. Right hand can reach for the ceiling. You're also welcome to reach around in front of your shin to get just a little bit more sensation. And then let's rotate both feet all the way back around. Right hand comes to the ground, gaze forward, and begin to straighten your right leg. It doesn't have to go all the way straight. And then bend your right knee. Let's bring the right hand inside the right foot and see if you can come onto your left forearm, perhaps even both forearms. You're also welcome to use a block underneath the forearm. Sometimes that can help. It's like it brings the floor up to you. And then from here, hands back to the mat. Step your right foot back to plank position. And then take the vinyasa of your choice. Modify if you need to, or take full on. Whatever's working for you this morning, you know your body, and you should honor it. From here, we'll step the left foot forward. If you can, hold your high lunge and come on up. If you need to, feel free to drop that right knee down. Once you're up, left hand to the top of your left thigh. Right hand is reaching up and back a little bit and maybe a little to the left. So you're just getting a little extra stretch. Then we're going to bring the right hand down to the mat. Both feet turn a full 90 degrees to the left. And we allow the hips to sink a little bit. You're trying to find sensation in your left hip. Left hand can reach for the ceiling, or it can be in front of your left shin. And then we're going to rotate both feet all the way back around, left hand to the mat. Begin to straighten your left leg. Then bend your left knee. Left hand comes to the inside of the left foot. We're going to see if we can get onto the right forearm, maybe the left one as well. Come on up onto your hands again and step forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway, and exhale back down. Step back with your right foot. If you can, come up into a high lunge. Hold that for another breath. And then just spin your right heel flat and come into warrior two. So you're gonna left foot forward, warrior two. We're gonna take the left hand to the inside of the left thigh. Right hand slides down towards the right ankle. Press against the inside of your left thigh. Get a little more hip opening here. Come back up, warrior two. Reverse your warrior, right hand, right thigh, left arm up and over. And then come back up. I want you to straighten your left leg. Go ahead and take triangle. Lengthen the spine. And then come back up. We're going to rotate the right foot in a little bit, maybe 45 degrees or so, depends on your knee. Please pay attention to knee issues. If you have them, be very gentle here. What you're going to do is start bending in your right knee again, kind of like you did for warrior two, but now your foot is slightly rotated in. You're going to let the toes of your right foot rotate up towards the ceiling. Keep your left heel flat and keep sinking your hips. Now, hands can be on the ground for support, or if you feel like you can, release the hands. Think of it like a one-legged squat. It's a side lunge. It's called Skandasana. Take one more breath here. Hands to the mat. Rotate the left foot back out, right foot in, and come back up into your warrior two. So the transitions are the fun part, right? We're going to go back into our high lunge. Rotating onto the right toes, arms are up and overhead. And then take your hands to the mat, step it back to plank, and take your vinyasa. Now we step forward with the right foot. If you can, come on up into your high lunge. And then we're just going to spin the left heel flat and come into our warrior two. Right hand to the inside of the right thigh, left hand slides down towards that left ankle, and you press your right arm completely straight, getting a little tractioning. Come all the way back up, warrior two, and reverse it. Left hand on your left thigh, right arm up and over. Come all the way back up, straighten your right leg, lengthen out in your triangle pose. And then we're gonna come back up. So this is where we do the same thing we did on the other side. Your right foot is gonna rotate in a little, depends on you. Begin to bend into your right knee. Your right knee is tracking over that second toe. So you wanna be in a comfortable position here. Left toes point towards the ceiling. Right heel stays flat. Now, if you need to, hands can be on the ground to support you. Otherwise, palms together, and you simply allow the hips to sink. Excellent. Hands come down, left foot goes back in, right foot out. You're back up into your warrior two. And then we do that transition, swivel onto the left toes, arms are up and overhead. And then take your hands to the mat and take a vinyasa. So from this downward facing dog, after you've had a moment to relieve length, then you can either walk or jump forward, standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Turn sideways, take a nice wide side step. And then just pause for a moment and consciously tighten the outer hip, right where your thigh meets your torso. Just imagine that you can contract those muscles a little tighter. Take the feet a little wider. Good. Now, if you can, keep your legs straight. You're going to hinge at your hips and fold forward. Hands can be on the mat. Forearms can be on the mat. It depends on your flexibility. Take a couple of breaths. And then I want you to see if you can take the feet even wider. Remember, please, to honor and take care of any knee issues. We are going to be going into frog from here. If that's a bad idea for you, then you should do it from a standing position. Otherwise, if you feel like you can, and again, be gentle with yourselves here. One knee drops and the foot immediately comes behind it. We keep the knees extra wide, the other foot drops. And you have these beautiful little froggy legs. So if you look behind you, your lower legs are parallel and your feet are flexed. Now, if that's a bad idea, what you can do is stand with your knees bent and press on the inside of the thighs. If you have your inner thighs on the floor, then the fun part is we press our buns back towards the heels and we say good morning to the groin and inner thigh region. So it might be intense, but it should not be painful. So kind of make sure you know the difference. Breathe through it. We're just here for 3 more breaths. If you are in frog on the ground, come up onto your hands. Just bring your knees together, reorient yourself onto the mat, and take a child's pose. So you just want to give those muscles a moment to shorten back up. And then from here, just transition into plank and take your vinyasa. From this downward facing dog, you may either walk or jump forward. Standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. We're turning sideways again. And don't worry, no, you do not have to repeat Bakasana. So only one frog pose today. So take that nice wide stance. Make sure your toes are pointing forward. I want you to hinge at your hips again. Hands to the mat. Now with your toes still pointing forward, bend your right knee. Find that left inner thigh stretch. And then just switch, straighten your right knee, bend your left knee. Find that left inner thigh stretch. One more time on each side, bend the right knee. And straighten it, bend the left knee. Come back to the center. See if you can take your feet even wider. So basically what I want you to do is support your weight with your hands and simply take your feet as wide as you comfortably can, tightening the outer hip muscles to cause a reflex release in the inner thighs. And then we just take 3 breaths here. That's all you got to do is breathe. Go ahead and toe heel your feet back in. You want them to be about hip width or shoulder width. While you're still leaning forward, slide your hands underneath your feet, front to back. So the ball of the foot is in the palm of the hand. Your palms are facing up. Your fingers are pointing at your heels. You're taking a breath here to maybe straighten the legs. And if the legs go straight, you can bend the elbows. And then release your hands. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. As you exhale, palms together in front of the heart. All right, so we're gonna play with a little inner thigh opening in a balance pose. And I'm gonna have all you guys do this kind of the same so that regardless of flexibility level, we're on the same page. We're gonna stand on the left foot first. And what I'd like you to do is take your right hand and grab the inside of your right thigh with your knee bent. Your left hand can be out to the side. If you need to hang on to something, do that. Whatever you want to do with the left hand is fine. Keep your chest lifted and press your right leg out to the right. And then just to the best of your ability, you begin to straighten your right leg. Maybe it goes straight, maybe it doesn't. But we're really working on pressing the leg out to the side so we get an inner thigh stretch. Take one more breath. Bring that right leg back down. Now standing on the right foot, we'll do the same thing. Left hand is going to grab the inside of your left thigh. Right arm can be wherever you want it. That left leg opens out. That's part of why we have the hand there. It helps open the leg out. And then just to the best of your ability, you're straightening your left leg. Good. Bring left leg back down, back to the front of the mat. Feet together, palms together. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale and look up halfway. And exhale back down. Step back to plank and take your vinyasa. From this downward facing dog, we're going to take the right leg up in the air, bend the knee, roll the hip bone open. And then from here, we're taking right leg underneath for pigeon. If that's a bad idea for you, you can flip onto your back and do reclined pigeon, which is like a figure 4 stretch. Otherwise, find that stretch in your right glute, right buttock. Coming onto forearms if you can. Just take a couple of breaths. We don't want the inner thighs to be the only ones that have fun. And then go straight back into downward facing dog. Just stretch it out. Take your left leg up in the air, bend your knee, roll your hip bone open, stretch. And then we're going to take the left leg underneath for pigeon. Same thing here. Just find your way into your stretch. Coming under the forearms if you can. And then straight back into downward facing dog and stretch. From this down dog, you'll shift into plank to take your final vinyasa. Really lengthen in your downward facing dog, stretch, stretch, stretch. And then I want you to walk your feet forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. We're just going to do a standing IT band stretch before we come to our seated positions. So what you want to do is take your right foot behind your left foot. You want both feet completely flat. Then you're going to poke your right hip out to the right. I like to put my left hand on my left hip. Poke the right hip out, rotate it back, reach the right arm up and overhead. So what this should do is get into your iliotibial band, that nice long band of connective tissue on the outside edge of your right hip. Now, come back up from that. Keep the right leg behind. Be gentle with yourself. Hinge forward at your hips, like a standing forward bend. You should feel it a little more intently on that right side. Going up from that and back to a neutral standing position. So now we're going to take the left foot behind the right foot. You want both feet flat. You're going to put your right hand on your right hip, push your left hip to the left and rotate it back, and then reach up and overhead with your left arm. And again, you should be feeling this in that left outer hip. It's a subtle stretch, but you should be able to get into your iliotibial band, the IT band. And then from here, come on up, keep your legs crossed and fold forward like a standing forward bend. And then we'll come back up, uncross the legs. If you can, feet about shoulder width, toes pointing forward. Start to drop your buns into a yogic squat. If your body's not having that this morning, you can just sit. Otherwise, after you've had a moment to squat, you just allow the backside to find the floor and the legs to extend, and we come into Dandasana. So we're going to pause with our hands right behind the backside, that straight spine, active legs. Give yourself the opportunity to just check in with all of your systems. Make sure it's all systems go. And then take your legs into that nice wide V. You've already had a lot of inner thigh stretching today, so maybe even help the legs a little wider. See if you can give a little bit more, pardon me, in your stretch this morning. And then make sure that your feet are flexed, toes pointing up. We want our muscles active. And then either with hands behind you or on legs or feet or in front of you, you simply begin to extend your spine forward. Think about lengthening the torso forward. Keep your legs active. Keep concentrating on tightening the outer hip muscles to cause a reflex release in the inner thigh. We're here for 4 more breaths. Your body should be primed for this. And then go ahead and come all the way back up. I want you to just bring the soles of the feet together. Hands are right behind your backside for that straight spine. Press your knees out to the side and strongly reach them down to the floor. So it's those same outer thigh and outer hip muscles that are tightening to bring those knees down, down, down towards the floor. And then you can just keep your left knee bent. Extend your right leg out. Let's lean out over that right leg. And then we're gonna come up, and all I want you to do is keep your torso oriented just like it is, left leg just like it is, but take your right leg now to the right. And all I want you to do is put your right hand on the ground and start sliding it out towards your right heel. You might be able to reach it, you might not. And then reach your left arm up and overhead. Now, as you're doing this, right foot is active. You should be feeling a right inner thigh stretch. But as you keep your left hip planted, you should be feeling a left outer hip stretch. So ideally, we're getting a 2 for 1 here. Take a couple more breaths. The more you reach through your left arm and keep your left hip grounded and keep your right leg active, the more you'll benefit from the stretch. Come all the way back up. Let's bring that right leg back in and then extend the left leg out. Wiggle both legs. And keep your left leg straight. Bring your right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Lean out over your left leg. And then come on up from that, just like we did on the first side. Torso stays forward, everything else stays the same, but you're gonna open your left leg out to the left. Keep the foot active. Left hand is on the ground inside that left leg. Just slide it out as far as it will go towards the left heel. Right hip stays planted. Right arm reaches up and overhead. And so you should feel a little left inner thigh and a little right outer hip. Keep reaching through those fingertips. Keep that right glute planted. And then come on back up. Just bring that left leg back in front of you. Right leg can meet it. Give the legs a good wiggle. Yet again, bringing soles of the feet together in front of you, but this time you can interlace your fingers over your toes or grab your feet. Knees are pressing out to the side and down towards the ground. And I want you to lean forward over the legs a little bit. And then come on up from that. Make sure that you have a good hold of the outside edges of your feet now. We're gonna lift up. Make sure if you need to roll backwards that you've got clearance. But your feet are off the ground. And don't let go of your feet, but as much as you can, extend your right leg out to the right. Bring that right foot back in. Extend your left leg out to the left. Bring that foot back in. Here we go. Both legs. Extend them out. Nice wide V. In the air. Try and have your feet active. Take one more breath. And then you can bring your legs back to the ground and roll onto your back, hugging the knees in. Rocking side to side. So from here, go ahead and place your feet flat on the floor outside the edges of your mat. So you have a wide stance with the knees bent. We're going to drop both knees to the left. You should start to feel a little sensation in the right outer hip. If it's not enough, you can put your left foot on top of that right knee. And then just kind of relax for a few breaths and let this subtle IT band stretch work its magic. If your left foot is on top of your right knee, take it off, put it back outside the mat to the left. And then we're going to take both knees over to the right. You should feel that little bit of a sensation in your left outer hip. Purely optional is to put right foot on top of left knee and relax the leg. And then if the right foot is on the left knee, take it off and put it back outside the mat. So you still have a wide stance. Prop your knees together. If your knees feel tweaky, flex the ankles. You want to feel this in the outer hip. You don't want to feel it in the knees. Take a couple more breaths here. And then go ahead and hug your knees in and rock side to side. And then we're going to put the left foot on the mat, cross the right ankle over the left knee, flex your right ankle. Go ahead and reach through. Take a couple breaths in your figure four or reclined pigeon stretch to make sure that right ankle is flexed. And you're pulling your left knee in towards your chest so that you feel this in your right glute. Then keep your ankle crossed, left foot on the mat again. Drop your left knee to the left until the whole sole of your right foot touches the floor. Left hand presses against the inside of the right thigh. You want to make sure your whole right foot, the bottom of the right foot, is connecting to the floor as you press against the inside of that right thigh. Again, coming into IT band stretch, you should feel it in that right outer hip. Take one more breath. Come on up. You can uncross the legs, hug your knees, rock side to side. And then right foot on the mat, left foot crosses, right knee, flex the ankle, reach through, grab the front of your right shin or the back of your right thigh for your figure four, AKA reclined pigeon. You're pulling your right knee in towards your chest so that you feel this in your left glute. And then we're going to put the right foot back down on the floor. Let your right knee drop to the right. You want the whole sole of your left foot on the floor. Right hand presses against the inside of the left thigh. Make sure that right foot is connected down all the way, big toe and little toe side. So you should feel this in your left outer hip, that left IT band. Come on back up, uncross your legs, hug your knees in, rock side to side. And then with the feet still in the air, I want you to bring the soles of the feet together. Grab the outside edges of your feet. Just pause for a moment. Just like we did in the seated position, but now you don't have to worry about rolling backwards. Keeping hold of your feet. Extend your right leg out to the right. Maybe you can get a little bit of extra extension since you're not worried about balancing on the tailbone. Bring the right foot back in. Extend your left leg out to the left. Get some nice inner thigh stretch, bring it back in. Here we go, going for the gold. Take both legs, nice wide V, stretch as much as you can. And then bring the legs back together, hug your knees in, and rock side to side. So if you're able to hike your hips into your hands, even if it's not a perfect shoulder stand, we'll do some leg variations there. If that's not a good idea for you, but you'd like to participate in this, you could put your hips on a block and it would still qualify as an inversion. Or if you want to just skip that altogether, you can do bridge pose. Otherwise, with your hips on a block or your hips in your hands, we're just going to start with the legs in a nice wide V. So let gravity kind of help you out here. And then bring the soles of the feet together, but press the knees wide. So it's kind of like Baddha Konasana in the air. Your outer hips are very engaged here. And then bring the knees together and extend the legs up. Take a couple of breaths. And then you can just simply come on out of that. Hug the knees in and rock side to side. If you need to modify twisting for the low back, you'll go straight from here, knees bent, dropping to the right, left arm opening out to the left. If you can do a deeper twist, I'd like you to put your right foot on the mat and take your left thigh tightly over your right, and then drop both knees to the right and take the left arm out to the left. So in addition to feeling spinal twist, if you are tighter in the hips, you might feel this a little bit in that left outer hip. It's kind of a bonus, so hopefully you're getting some of that. Couple more breaths here. And then we'll bring the knees back up. Keep them crossed. Draw two big circles in each direction with your knees. And then uncross your legs and just give them a good squeeze. So again, if you need to modify, just keep your knees bent together as they are. Drop them over to the left, right arm opening to the right. If you want to go deeper, left foot on the mat, right thigh tightly crosses left. And we drop the knees to the left with the right arm opening out to the right. If it feels okay with your neck, your head would turn to the right. And again, maybe, just maybe, you're getting a little bit of sensation in that right outer hip along with your spinal rotation. One more breath here. And then bring the legs back up. If your knees are crossed, keep them crossed. Let's draw two big circles in each direction with the knees. Uncross your legs, hug the knees in. Grab the outside edges of your feet. Just begin to wiggle around a little bit. Checking out that happy baby. See what the inner and outer hips and thighs are feeling like. What did you accomplish? What did you wake up? What did you release? Just notice. When you feel like you're ready, pardon me, place your feet flat on the mat and just let your knees drop open, soles of the feet together. We're going to bring the arms up and over our head, interlace the fingers, extend the index fingers, so that's Jupiter Mudra. And you should have your hands on the floor. On your next inhale, you're going to reach as strongly through your fingertips as you can and press your knees towards the ground. This will be the final time you'll feel those outer hip muscles tightening. Final inner thigh release. And then on your next exhale, just relax. You can unlace your fingers and bring them back below the height of the heart again. Now on your next inhale, I want you to flatten your back. So you're tilting the pelvis back. You shouldn't really feel too much tension in the inner or outer thighs. You're just kind of engaging abdomen to lengthen low back. Go ahead, exhale and release. And let's do that one more time. Inhale, flatten your low back, press the navel towards the mat. And then exhale and release. Extend your legs, separate the feet. And then I suggest you roll your thighs in and out a few times, like wiggle them in and out, and then just let them flop. So you want those inner outer thighs to be totally relaxed after all of that work that they've done this morning. Hands are below the height of the heart. The palms are facing up. Your shoulders are relaxed. Your neck feels long. Your jaw is relaxed. Your eyes are closed. You take a deep breath in. Big exhale through the mouth. Just give yourself a few breaths to let everything settle. And then I want you to just change your perception of your breathing. I'd like you to imagine that you are inhaling through the arches of your feet, all the way up to the crown of your head. And that you are exhaling from the crown of the head all the way back down through the body and out the soles of the feet. Inhaling, drawing breath all the way up through your entire body to the crown of the head, and exhaling, washing that breath back down and out the soles of the feet. If it helps, you can visualize your breath as a particular color or like water even. Perhaps you can feel that sensation of drawing energy in through the arches of the feet and bringing it up towards the crown of the head, and then washing it back out. And then taking it a step further to not only breathe in through the arches of the feet and draw in prana or energy, but to also bring in physically, mentally, or energetically, whatever you need with your inhale. You bring in, you draw in whatever you need, deposit it wherever you need, all the way from the soles of the feet up to the top of the head. And then as you exhale, you release anything you don't need. You let go of anything, physical, mental, energetic. As you exhale, you're washing it out of the body and out through the soles of the feet. Every inhale, drawing in what you need through the soles of the feet. Every exhale, releasing what you don't. Allow your breath to come back to the way that you normally experience it, inhaling through your nose and into your lungs, and exhaling from the lungs back out through the nose. Just allow the breath to return. And then notice how your body feels. Notice thought processes. Notice emotions. Notice what your energy is like. Begin to move your fingers and toes a little bit. Take an extra deep breath in. Spread your fingers and toes. Exhale through the mouth as you relax them. Even deeper breath in, stretch, reach through arms and legs. And exhale and relax. Bend your knees, roll to your side. Press yourself up into sitting. And if you're able to sit in a cross-legged position, do that. Because we're gonna just do a few torso circles before we move into our breath work. So with hands on the knees, I want you to move really slowly, because this is a nice way to just finish out some of this hip stuff that we did today. As you exhale, you're doing the forward leaning part of your circle. And as you inhale, you're doing the backward leaning part of the circle. Let's do 3 in each direction. Take your time, feeling into the hips. Make sure when you switch directions that you coordinate it with your breathing. And as you finish out, just roll your shoulders back a few times. And then just pause and find that nice, straight, aligned spine. So if you're comfortable with doing an internal retention, which basically means holding your breath, then we're going to work with the first 3 parts of the breath today. If you have allergies or asthma or any kind of respiratory stuff going on, please feel free to skip the hold. You don't have to do the retention. Obviously, your breath work is for you and it should be suitable for you, so adapt it however you need to. If you're okay with that, what we're going to do is inhale for a particular count, hold our breath for that same count, and then exhale for twice as long. So an example might be, I might inhale for a 3 count, hold my breath for 3, and then exhale for 6, or inhale for 6, hold for 6, exhale 12. You get the idea. If you hold your breath and you are uncomfortable with it or you're struggling, please feel free to skip that and just make it an inhale with a double exhale. All right, so work at your own ability this morning. So without further ado, this is all through the nose, straight spine, relaxed shoulders. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale completely through your nose. And then it's your count, of course, but stick to that ratio, 1-1-2 ratio or 1-2 ratio. Finish the breath that you are currently on. Make sure you complete the entire ratio. And then just allow the breathing to return to normal and sit with that for a couple of breaths. Just checking in with how you feel. Again, checking in with all of your systems. And then bringing palms together in front of the heart. We take a moment in gratitude. Gratitude for everything, the blessings and the lessons, the challenges that help us become stronger, more grounded, more deeply connected, and the blessings that make us appreciate each other and the world that we live in. Take one more deep breath in through your nose. Big sigh. We bring our palms together at our foreheads, and this just reminds us to be present. We bring our palms together in front of our mouths, and it reminds us to speak our truth. We bring our palms together in front of our hearts. It reminds us to keep our hearts open, and perhaps even more importantly, to always come from a place of love, compassion, and kindness. Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you all stay warm. Namaste.